Just to give you a quick overview of what we have left to come, I'll be doing a panel discussion with Aarushi and Kamya, leads from our vaping detection and mitigation pathway. Then we will have a look at the design phase of user experience, and then we'll finish with any remaining questions that you may have. I'll start with you, Kamya. Why is it a good idea to study and research vaping detection and mitigation?
I was interested in this project because when I was part of this internship last summer, I actually was a senior in high school who had just graduated, and I'd come from high school where I saw vaping firsthand in my high school. I just thought the whole idea of the project was really interesting, and the fact that we could figure out ways to actually mitigate and help put a stop to it, because it's really a huge problem. And through this project, we were hoping to bring more awareness to the problem. And high schoolers honestly don't have much of an idea of how vaping can impact lifelong health. So that was the main reason that we decided that we wanted to research and what exactly we researched.
Very good. And one more question for you before I move on to Aarushi. Could you explain the primary activities of your team? What did you engage on over the course of the internship?
Sure. So our internship consisted of more of a hardware side and more of a research side. We had more of a side of research where we tried to gather survey results from around the nation, and we tried to figure out trends and where vaping was prevalent, where people had seen it, asked questions in our survey to help us get a better understanding of how aware people were of vaping. And then based on those results, we tried to come up with suggestions on how we can bring awareness to vaping. But then we also had a more hardware side, which I know Aarushi will go more into, but we also had the hardware aspect where we came up with block diagrams for prototypes. For a vaping detector, we came up with prototypes based on FPGA boards. So I would say the internship engaged in us mainly doing research, as well as also trying to learn more about FPGAs and how they can be programmed to do things like even create a vaping detector.
So similar to the UX pathway, you had both the research side and the kind of application of the research side, which
Exactly.
is the design.
Yeah, and honestly, as someone coming out of high school, it's really cool to see how technology could be used and applied to solve problems like vaping.
Thank you. Aarushi, could you give us a bit more of a background into FPGA boards? What does it stand for? What is it?
Sure. So an FPGA board, FPGA stands for Field Programmable Gate Array, and they use lookup tables and Boolean logic to perform a variety of functionalities, and they're very flexible because they're reprogrammable. And so if you make a mistake, you can always redo it. And they also carry out their processes in parallel, so they're pretty quick too. And they were great for what we were doing, because we were trying to simulate a vaping detector on an FPGA board, and it was a great experience because a lot of us didn't have any background in the language we were using, Verilog. So we got to learn how to use Verilog, and then before we were able to move on to actually emulating the basic functionalities of a vaping detector.
Thank you. And I believe you had significant success with your team's paper. Could you elaborate on this, please?
Sure. So in the last 2 weeks of our internship, our team created a final report which had all of our research and our block diagrams for our own design. It had our recommendations for what schools and governments can take, what actions they can take to mitigate the vaping epidemic. And so we had all of that in one extremely, really, really long report. And an opportunity arose for submitting a paper to the MIT IEEE Undergraduate Research and Technology Conference. And they were accepting submissions from high school and undergraduate researchers. So what I did was I took our team's work and pared it down a bit to focus on the technology and on our unique design that focuses that includes an interconnect signal between the vaping detectors. And so I was able to submit that to the conference, and we actually got accepted, and the paper will be published by the end of the year, which is super exciting. And we got to present our research at the conference last month. They had a virtual conference, so that was really, really amazing.
I'm sure the audience would join in with me in congratulating you and your team on this, and congratulating the whole pathway on the experience and also achievements throughout the internship. Kamya, I'd just like to ask you one more question. Where would you see yourself carrying over this experience, both technically and soft skill wise, into the future?
That's actually a really good question, because just started college and I'm a computer science and engineering major. I actually didn't think that I would get as much technological knowledge as I did, because we learned about field programmable gate arrays, and we learned about Verilog HDL, and recently I learned about that in one of my college courses so far, and seeing how what I learned here could be applied in so many other aspects was so amazing. So, and honestly, after this internship, I was really interested in learning more about what we could do with FPGAs. And I would say soft skills wise, being a lead was honestly an amazing opportunity. I was a little intimidated at first, because I wasn't sure if I would be able to handle the responsibilities, because I was the team lead and I was also the pathway lead, so I was scared that I wouldn't be able to, but it gave me a lot of soft skills, organization wise, time management wise, and those are skills that I'll definitely carry along with me in future internships and jobs as well.
Thank you, and best of luck to both of you with any further research or further STEM endeavors. Thank you to Aarushi and Kamya for sharing your experiences.
Thank you.
Thank you.